Hi, my name is Noah Gift, and today I'm going to tell you how to learn Python in just about 5 minutes with Colab Notebook. Really, who's got time for more than 5 minutes? I hope you don't. Let's go ahead and get started with Python. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. I'm in a rush. Let's explain Colab Notebook. Right here, I'm going to create a markdown cell where I put statements inside. Colab is a great environment for building code, and I can actually go through here and build out this structure where I have really like a table of contents. And you can see the table of contents here on the left, and it's great because I can keep all of my notes inside of this structure. So let's go ahead and get started now. The next thing that we'll go ahead and do is save a copy in Github. This is a great workflow for people learning Python. Go ahead and save your notes. There we go. We've got this inside. Next up, I'm going to print something. So let's go ahead and say print hello world. Notice that print is a function that accepts a parameter inside called a string. And in this case, very straightforward to get started in Python. Put print, put a string inside with quotes around it, and you're ready to go. Next up, what we can do is build out a little bit more structure, and we can actually add things together by including a x equal 1, y equals 2, and then build out this into an equation, right? X plus y equals, right? So this is our elementary math here, and we can put an f string here, and an f string allows us to substitute a variable. In this case, I'll take the result, put it between these curly brackets, and then once I've got this inside, I can now print out a more sophisticated structure here of a print statement. So really, this is pretty powerful. You're already on your way. Next up, what we can do is look at data structures. I think of these as like grocery bags or grocery carts. You know, they're a structure for you to do things with. So first up, let's cover lists. And a list is something that is sequential. So let's go ahead and put these square brackets around a list. And what I'll do inside of this is say mylist.append, and then I'll put a string inside of here. In this case, we'll put a piece of fruit. And now I can append a second thing by saying mylist.append and actually print this out first, but then put a second one in here, mylist.append, and put a second fruit, apple. Right, so you can think of it very similar to a basket at a supermarket. You know, you just put things inside. Now, to do things with Python, typically you'd want to loop through. So this is a control structure. So what I could do is actually print basically every statement. I love to eat this type of fruit and put this in a for loop. So the fruit right here is the loop variable, and this will get swapped out. And my list is where I've stored all of my fruit. Okay, let's go ahead and run this inside of Colab. I'll go ahead and say shift return. Perfect, right? So very straightforward in Python to process things if you use a loop. Well, what else can we do? Well, we can push things to a list as well. And this is something that is common. Let's say you're grabbing things from a website and you want to put them into some kind of structure, maybe scraping a website. You could build a container, and then you go through here and you loop through and you say, maybe for every 5 items, let's go ahead and append those items into a container. And then later I can print this container out, and you can see that in fact it's got 5 different items inside, right? So this is a very common structure. Next up, we can randomly push things to a container, right? So this is very common, more like the real world. Sometimes you want to have some randomness. In Python, you can say from random, import choices, very common library that works with a list. And then if I just put things inside that list, I can actually have choices pick one non-deterministically. So in this case, let's build some fruits together: apple, cherry, also potentially a strawberry. Got it. And now a peach. We can go through here and we can make a loop that randomly chooses one of these fruits. So let's go ahead and again have a container here called fruit salad. And then what we can say is for basically everything inside of this structure. Let's go ahead and try 3 times, and let's loop through and let's randomly pick a fruit and append that fruit inside. And so we can say choices and put in fruits, right? So basically 3 times now, because we're going to say for for basically eye and range. Go ahead and select a random fruit, put it into the fruit salad, and then go ahead and print this out. There we go. We've got this thing hooked in, and let's go ahead and again use F strings, which allow us to substitute variables. Aha, there we go. I enjoyed a fruit salad with the following fruits, and perfect. Now, let's move on to dictionaries. Dictionaries are the other very common data structure. They're key value based, so it means that they're very performant. You could have two things in a dictionary or a million things in a dictionary, but if you do a key-based lookup, they'll all be very, very performant, which is they'll have the same fixed lookup time to retrieve something. So we can do a meal with a dinner, steak, lunch, salad, breakfast, black coffee, and we can actually do a key-based lookup here by also looping through. If we want to, we can actually pull the key and the value out. And so in this case, what we can do is we can say, basically look inside, see that in fact this dictionary has a key value-based approach. There's 3 items inside, and so to pull them out, all we need to do is say meals and say dot items. And dot items will actually select both. Keys will select just the keys. Values will select just the values. So really, there are 3 common ways to deal with a dictionary: keys, values, or items. So let's go ahead and take a look here. Again, values allows us to even look things up and see. In this case, if I do a question mark in Colab Notebook, it tells us, oh, great, I can look at the documentation. Okay, so now that we've got that hooked up, I can go ahead and print out the values. So that's very useful, but let's actually move a little bit further and actually pull them out programmatically by, again, looking through a items loop. So here we go. Let's go ahead and build out a for loop. I'll go ahead and say for basically meal in meals.items, and then I'll print that out into a result. And this is a very common way to deal with dictionaries. So let's go ahead and do this next. We'll build out for meals, for meal and meal name, and then also do the food in meals.items. And we'll say, go ahead and print out both the meal name and the food, right? And we can put this inside of an F string. Here we go, print. We'll go ahead and print this inside of here for meal name. I like to eat, and then go ahead and say food, and then go ahead and print this out. All right, there we go. We're Python programmers.